Let's go through the 4 primary functions of the GI tract and apply those functions to the large intestine. This is a picture of the large intestine, also known as the colon, also known as the bowel. Secretion is a function of the large intestine. The large intestine contains intestinal glands, which secrete salt water, and within the simple columnar epithelial tissue are goblet cells that secrete mucus. As far as digestion goes, the large intestine does not secrete any digestive enzymes. Therefore, no chemical digestion is possible. That being said, bacteria colonize the large intestine or populate that area or live there. And what the bacteria do is continue to metabolize the undigestible items that are entering into the large intestine, what we would call fiber. And so because the bacteria continue to digest the fiber, that's how they can produce vitamin K, and they also produce intestinal gas. The primary function of the large intestine is absorption. Water is absorbed from the large intestine, and so we can further bring water back into the body. The longer the contents are in the large intestine, the more water is absorbed. And so if the forming feces are in there for a long time, they become very, very solid. Compared to if the forming feces race through the large intestine, they're very watery. And so the water absorption is a function of time spent within the large intestine. And so motility is a primary function of the large intestine also. We must move the contents out of the large intestine. And so as far as motility goes, let's take a look at some anatomy. The muscularis externa, the longitudinal layer, is minimized. So it's not a sheet of muscle, of smooth muscle, that encases the colon like we've seen in other areas of the GI tract. Instead, the longitudinal layer is minimized into these strips or ribbon-like pieces called the tinea coli. The tinea coli also create pouch-like sacs that run along the length of the large intestine called haustra. One type of movement seen in the large intestine is something called a propulsive mass movement. It's kind of like weak peristalsis. It moves the contents towards the distal end of the large intestine, and then it would take a number of propulsive mass movements to actually move the contents into the rectum. Once a propulsive mass movement moves feces into the rectum, the stretch in the rectum is sensed by the nervous system as a need to defecate. We can control exit of feces from the body because the external anal sphincter is skeletal muscle and therefore it's voluntary. We have 2 anal sphincters. The internal anal sphincter is smooth muscle, and the external anal sphincter is skeletal muscle. And because the external anal sphincter is skeletal muscle, it can be voluntarily controlled. And so once feces are moved into the rectum, stretch of the rectum lets the nervous system know that feces are there. It's sensed as the need to defecate, and voluntary relaxation of the external anal sphincter will elicit the defecation reflex.